Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to make a beautiful Syndet facial cleansing bar. The word Syndet was created to describe or combine the two words synthetic and detergent. So today we're making a cleansing bar that does not contain any potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide. So this is made from plant-based surfactants and some beautiful botanicals. These types of cleansing bars are great because they have a lower pH, they don't really take a long time to cure, and you don't have to handle any type of lye or potassium hydroxide. They come together really easily and they're really actually good for your skin. You may be familiar with the Dove cleansing bar that you can buy anywhere, Target or the grocery store, and the Dove Beauty bar. Those are both Syndet type cleansing bars, and my formula today is going to be full of plant-based goodness like roses, kaolin clay, and colloidal oatmeal. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a step-by-step tutorial and visual process of how to put together this beautiful plant-based facial cleansing bar. And if you would like the full written recipe plus a full detailed tutorial including percentages, please head on over to my Patreon campaign where you can unlock this recipe for just a $5 pledge. My Patreon campaign is quickly approaching its 3rd year anniversary, which is super exciting. There's so much to take advantage of over there. I do post weekly recipes and tutorials, so there's almost 3 years of content now for you to take advantage of and tutorials. In addition to that, there are 4 other tiers you can take a look at, each with their own exclusive benefits. We offer things like live monthly classes, live hangouts, monthly gift packages, coupon codes to my favorite suppliers, and again, all of those wonderful recipes and tutorials. So I really hope you'll consider joining my campaign. It's because of patrons like you that I am able to continue doing what I'm doing and bringing you great content every week. All right, let's make some beautiful facial Syndet bars. Alright, so this recipe is comprised of some dry ingredients and some wet ingredients, and then you smash it together like Play-Doh and pretty much you're done. It's so easy to come together. It's completely cold process, meaning we don't have to cook or heat up any of the ingredients. So I just am absolutely loving this. So the first thing I'm actually going to do, because our hands are going to get quite sticky as we move along, I am going to go ahead and line this little round cavity mold with some rose petals. And we are making a rose and geranium themed Syndet bar. So I'm just going to go ahead and place a few little rose petals down here so that they're already ready to go when we're ready to place the mixture into the mold. And then I'm just going to go ahead and set this aside, and it will be all ready to go when we are ready. Okay, and so the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and weigh off our dry ingredients. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pull out a very sturdy and well-working dust mask. Nothing is going to get through this, and the reason why I'm wearing this in a few seconds here is because we are working with a lot of dry and powdered ingredients, and especially our dried and powdered surfactants. So those are the detergents that we're going to be using to make this bar, and they can go airborne quite quickly and really irritate your airways. So before making any type of formula that requires a powdered or dry surfactant or solid surfactant, it's a really good idea to have a dust mask. Okay, so the first thing we have here is our dried surfactant, and we're using SCI or sodium cocoyl isethionate. This is a beautiful low pH plant-based surfactant that is made out of coconuts. This is what's going to create the bubbles and the lather and the cleansing agent of your Syndet bar. All right, I'm going to go ahead and place my mask back up over and weigh this off.
We are making a 400 gram batch today. So we're going to go ahead and weigh off the SCI powder. And once it is weighed off, you're just going to go ahead and slowly transfer it to a bigger container, or you could just weigh everything off into one big container. The reason I'm doing it this way is because I'm thinking I'm getting a more accurate measurement of those powdered ingredients in this container. Okay, so the next ingredient we're going to weigh off is our
colloidal oats. Now, the reason why we're adding the colloidal oats in this recipe is because colloidal oats are super soothing, they're very calming on the skin, and this is going to help provide structure and hardness to our Syndet bar, and it adds a really nice creamy lather. So let me go ahead and get the scale ready here, and then we're just going to go ahead and weigh off our colloidal oats. And then the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and add in our roses. Now the roses are going to add a nice element to this Syndet bar. So roses are known for their tightening and toning properties. They're very gentle on the skin, and also in addition to the toning and tightening properties of this ground up rose petal, this is going to add a light exfoliation, a very light exfoliation. So all I did was take these beautiful red rose petals. I got these from Brambleberry, and I just put them through a spice grinder until I got it down into a real fine powder. This is also going to add to the dry element of the bar, adding structure and hardness. So I've already pre-measured this one out, so I'm just going to go ahead and pour that directly into the colloidal oats. And then the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and add in our Kaolin Clay. Now, Kaolin Clay, like all clays, is known for its wonderful detoxifying properties. It has the ability to absorb oil and dirt and just help to really detoxify the skin. And also the Kaolin Clay is going to add, again, more structure and hardness to your Syndet bar. So we're going to go ahead and add in our Kaolin Clay. As you can see, this has some lovely, beautiful plant-based ingredients that your skin is really going to love and appreciate. It's a super gentle cleansing bar with a low pH. Okay, so that's going to be it for the dry ingredients. All I'm going to do with the rest of these dry ingredients is go ahead and transfer it into my already weighed out dried surfactant matter. And then I'm going to set this aside for a minute while we get ready to weigh out the wet ingredients. So the first thing we're going to weigh out for the wet ingredients is some liquid shea. Now liquid shea is a liquid form of shea butter, and I got mine at Brambleberry. Shea butter is a beautiful ingredient in skincare. It's great for aging and mature skin. It's great for dry skin. So we're going to be using a little bit of liquid shea. However, you could substitute this liquid oil with any liquid oil of your choice. So if you didn't have this one around or you wanted to use a different one, I find this one to be a really luxurious, beautiful oil. So we're going to go ahead and use it today. And then the next thing we're going to do is add in some liquid surfactant to our mixture here. And our liquid surfactants are going to be comprised of cocamidopropylbetaine and caprylyl glucoside. Now the reason we're using these two is because they are both plant-based and they have a low pH and they add wonderful lather. I got this cocoa betaine from Wholesale Supplies Plus. However, you can probably get it on Amazon or anywhere, really, any soap supply store or Amazon. And this is also derived from coconuts, and so we're going to go ahead and add in our cocoa betaine. And then we're going to add to this our capryl glucoside. These are both super gentle liquid surfactants. It's going to help combine our dry ingredients to our wet ingredients and form a dough. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and add in some preservative. And the reason we're using a preservative here is because this bar has a low pH. So unlike a cold processed soap bar that has a high pH and does not require any preservative, because the pH won't allow any bacteria and such to grow. Bacteria can actually grow in Syndet bars because their pH is low enough that bacteria and stuff would find that, and germs would find it friendly. So we are going to be adding in a preservative for that reason, and also because we're using dried rose petals all ground up, or ground roses, and we want them to stay stable and not get moldy. So we're going to go ahead and add in some liquid Germall Plus. And then the next thing we're going to do is add in an essential oil blend. Today we're going to be using a mixture of Geranium Essential Oil, Rose Absolute, and Lemon Essential Oil. Now this combination together smells wonderful. If you are a Lush fan or you're familiar with the Lush fragrance Rose Jam, this has a lot of the same components, although it doesn't smell exactly like rose jam. You will get some of those similar fragrance notes. So we're going to go ahead and add in our geranium. Okay. And then next we're going to be adding in our Rose Absolute, which smells wonderful. And then last, we're going to be adding in some lemon essential oil. Now the lemon really kind of brightens it up. You get it, that top note of lemon, and then you get the depth from the rose and the geranium essential oil. Okay, now it's time to go ahead and combine our wet and dry ingredients. But first I'm going to go ahead and give this a good stir to combine our wet ingredients up. The best we can. I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to bring over my dry surfactants. I'm going to go ahead and put my mask back on because I'm going to whisk these up real fast together before we add in our wet ingredients.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give this a good whisk and just get those dry ingredients all mixed together and kind of break up any of those clumps and the powdered ingredients that still might be in there. Now you're going to see that the rose petals, the ground up rose in this recipe really makes a beautiful color once those wet ingredients become combined. Just going to take my spoon here and just kind of get the bottom. Any mixture on the bottom that might not be all the way mixed in. just to get this thoroughly combined. Okay. Okay, and now it's time to go ahead and combine the wet ingredients with the dry ingredients. So we're going to start off by just pouring a little bit of this in. I've mixed it all up, giving it a little bit of a stir with a spatula. As soon as these surfactants and powdered ingredients get damp, then you can take off the mask. So start out, with a spatula, just kind of stirring and getting the dry ingredients damp. It's going to look a little bit like biscuit dough, kind of crumbly. Okay, once this kind of gets mixed in, then you can, I find it easier once you kind of get this mixed in to start going in with your hands. Just want to make sure this is damp before I take my mask off. And it does get quite sticky at this point. So I'll show you a little trick here. Okay. Okay, so something you can do, I'm going to go ahead and take my mask off now.
Something you can do to kind of prevent that sticking from getting too bad is take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and spray it onto your gloves, because you're going to get in there with your hands. However, okay, so you're just going to take a bit of rubbing alcohol, put it on your gloves. That'll help prevent a little bit of the sticking until you can form a dough with this. So then you're just going to kind of get in there and start working it up, working it together like you would biscuit dough. And you just want to see it getting kind of stuck to itself until you form like a ball of dough. Okay, and as you can see, it's starting to stick to itself a little bit here, which is what we're going for. You're going for kind of a stiff ball of dough. You want it to stick to itself. Okay. Okay, at this point, if your mixture feels a little bit too dry, you can add a tiny bit more, and I mean a tiny bit more, of your liquid oil. It's super easy to overdo it and to get the mixture too wet. This is the perfect kind of consistency for this, although I think I may... No, I think this is good. I think we're just going to move this over, and then we're just forming a big round ball of dough here. So you just want to make sure whatever your surface you're working on is clean, so you can work your dough out on the surface. So what I'm going to do here is pull my mold into the frame, and then I'm going to pull a bit of dough off, And then what you're gonna do is just start squishing it into your mold, like so. Now this one's a little bit big, so I'm gonna pull a little bit out, but that's what you're gonna do. Okay, so now that these are all molded, I just do have a little bit of mixture left here. You can just form this into a little disc on its own. But what we're gonna do is go ahead and allow these to set up for just a little while. They don't take long at all. And then I'll bring you back when we're ready to unmold. All right, so these are ready to go ahead and unmold. They've been sitting in here for about maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes. They really don't take that long to set up and take out of the mold. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of stretch this, stretch the sides out so they won't stick as bad. And then just kind of flip the mold over, pop them out. And that's the first one. Don't they look so beautiful and just natural looking? I just love the way they look. And get the rest of them out. And I do like these to set up for about 3 days before, about 3 days before you wet them and use them. And I have one I'm going to show you in a minute here that's been set up now, and I've been using it for about a week or so. I just love the way these look. They're so pretty. Just love the natural color of that, of the roses. The roses give it such a beautiful natural looking color. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just do a lather demo. I'm gonna show you one that I've been using for a little while here. Okay, so I wanted to give you a bit of a lather demo here so you could see how this bar works. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one that I've been using now for about a week or so. As you can see, it's held up really nicely. It's hard. It kind of feels like when you make something out of modeling clay and it hardens up, that's how hard it gets. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works. I'm just going to wet my hands to activate the lather and then just sort of start creating a lather with it like you would any other bar soap. And I just absolutely adore the lather on this. It's got a super creamy and dense lather, perfect for washing your face. It feels super gentle and like soft and silky almost. So it's got a beautiful, creamy, dense lather. And it just feels very, very gentle. And the flower petals in here and the dried and ground up rose petals just offer a lot of like soft, gentle exfoliation. So it's very, very gentle, just gorgeous, beautiful lather. And I'm really, really loving this formula. I hope you do too. All right, well, that concludes today's video. I hope you really liked it. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment or question below. That really means a lot to me. Please share this video with a friend and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. All right, catch you on the next video. Bye.